We are live. I've got a real life boxer, and he has chosen this classic tune. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful day. Well, nothing is impossible in my all-powerful mind. Was on the 5th of November when time it went back. Well, some of us impossible, but you and I will never look back. Wasn't it incredible? So beautiful, and above all, just to see the fuse get lit this time, the light a real bonfire for all time. What a beautiful day, I'm the king of all time. Nothing is impossible in my all-powerful mind. And that's all I'm doing because the show's about you, Billy. Hello, how are you?
It's showtime! Let's get ready to rumble.
It certainly is. I'm so looking forward to this. So my first question to every guest, Billy, why did you choose that song?
It's a beautiful day, and it is an absolute beautiful day. Those lyrics, that lyric, nothing is impossible. There we go. That says it right there. And every day is a beautiful day. Every day above ground, every day that I wake up and get to experience the day is a beautiful day.
Brilliant. I wasn't expecting that as an answer, but Billy, yeah, absolutely. Isn't it just? So
it's a gift. Life is a gift, and then sometimes life's challenging, it's hard, it's difficult, and if we can reframe it.
It is all about reframing it, isn't it? And so tell us a little bit about yourself, and I can see some gold or silver or whatever behind you. Go on, tell us a little bit about yourself, Billy.
So I'm in my past life, I'm a former professional boxer. So I'm a former British, Commonwealth, European, and world boxing champion. But now what I do is very, very different to that. Is I inspire and empower people to live a life they love with passion, power and purpose, punching above their weight, winning more often, and experiencing more success. That's what I do. So I do that through public speaking. I'm a personal performance coach, and I also volunteer for the Samaritans. You know, you're familiar with Samaritans?
Yeah, absolutely. That's honourable.
That's how I inspire and empower people. They're my methods of delivery.
I love that. So I'm feeling a little bit desperate. I pick up the phone, speak to the Samaritans, and Billy's on the end of the line. Is that right?
But it's not this Billy, not this one you're seeing now. It's a different Billy. So
Sure.
I leave Billy at the door, and I tune into another part of me.
Oh, that's incredible.
This Billy is probably not appropriate for the Samaritans. So
this is 15 minutes behind the profile. We want Big Billy. We want Big Billy on this. It's not.
This is Big Billy, yeah. So it's not appropriate for the Samaritan. So no. That's a different side of me, a different part of me shows up.
Fantastic. So I got a few questions about LinkedIn. So how are you getting on with LinkedIn, and what do you love about LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to connect. Most of my business has come via LinkedIn. I just view it as such an amazing opportunity, and to utilize it the best we can. It's an access to having all that you want, and I really believe that LinkedIn for me is so important. It's huge. It's a huge part of my business.
No, fantastic. So how much time do you spend on LinkedIn, Billy?
I would say an hour a day, maybe
wow.
not, probably not that long. I'm kind of in and out of it. Less than an hour.
Do you use other social media?
I do a little bit. I'm not a big social media fan. I do Facebook. I do a little bit of Insta, but I recently got hacked, so that wasn't very good. But LinkedIn is my main platform that I use, and it's for my business.
No, that's absolutely cool. And you've already said that you get business from LinkedIn, which is just incredible. Do you post?
I must get at least about 80% of my business via LinkedIn. It's that big a deal for me. It's massive.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to somebody who's sort of like looking at it and thinking, oh, there's no way I can get 8% of my business from LinkedIn?
you've got to reframe it. You've got to work with you to establish, get yourself set up, your program, which I've done. We should all do your program.
Bless
we
you.
should all do that, get ourselves set up, and it's an opportunity. If you can view it, ultimately, it's a lead generator. It's an opportunity to generate leads, and it's a conversation. It's that's what you teach, right?
Absolutely. It is about the conversation. It's about the networking. It's about the you end up making friends on LinkedIn, don't you? People turn into friends. They stop being clients or prospects. They're friends, and you can call on them, and isn't it incredible?
Absolutely. And what I've also, LinkedIn has enabled me to reconnect with people I haven't spoken to for 25, 30 years.
Wow.
So it's a real opportunity to reconnect as well as connecting with new people, new opportunities. And it's great to look and reflect into our past and also reconnect with those guys.
Yeah. No, that's the thing, isn't it? So if I was coming onto LinkedIn right now today and never used it before, I'd be thinking, oh, I used to work with this really cool lady, or this was an amazing boss. I wonder what they're doing. And like you say, what a great opportunity.
Absolutely. Reflect, have a little look, go into the past and pull out people that you know, people that you went to school with even. I don't know. You can have a real rummage around and then connect. And as you know, it's the connections beyond the connections.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you've noticed, but on LinkedIn, you can actually go in and if you put in where you were educated, then what it does, it brings up suggestions of people that would have gone to that establishment. And it's the same with jobs as well. So I used to work for Lloyd's Bank, and every now and again,
did you have a proper job once?
I did. It was a proper job. Yeah.
A proper job.
Instead of just standing in my shed wearing yellow. But you get a message or something. Oh, so and so used to work at Lloyd's Bank. Well, they were there before you were there. They were there after you were there. They were there at the same time. It's really clever. So it's you could and again, when you turn around and I really want to connect with Billy and say, oh, Billy, I want to connect with you. We both used to work at Lloyd's. It doesn't matter that we were in different towns and it was at different areas. That's the thing that we've got in common.
Yeah, absolutely. That's genius. Yeah. So that's what a great little strategy.
Yeah, awesome. So my very first question is, why did you get into boxing, Billy?
That's a great question. Why on earth do we do what we do? Have you ever wondered that? It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
So for me to become a boxer. Now, my dad used to be a boxer. So that would be the first take on it. You go, oh, dad was a boxer, so that's why I become a boxer. But no, it ain't that. That's what that may be a perception. But what happened was I got bullied as a child. So as a young Billy, he got bullied. And then it was during that period of my life, it was a real tough time. And what
sort of age were you back then, Billy?
I was around. My first memory was when I was 5.
Okay.
And kids being kids, it was with my sisters messing about, pinning me to the floor, and kicking and screaming. So that was one scenario. Then I get bullied by a group of boys, and I used to get so upset. I used to hyperventilate and turn blue. I'd be on the floor, and I thought I was dying. I thought I was going to die. So it was a traumatic event for me. So in those moments, I decided that firstly, no one was ever going to beat me, dominate me, hurt me, or get on top of me ever again. It's like bullying that goes so against my grain. But I made a decision about myself. I decided that I was weak because as a 5-year-old, I couldn't fight my sisters off. I couldn't fight these boys off. So from sort of 5 years of age to 9, 10, in my mind, I was weak. So boxing for me was a perfect outlet for me to prove something. So all my life, all my boxing career, I've been trying to prove I'm not weak.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm enough, because I made another decision when I was 11 that I lost my 3rd amateur boxing fight. I decided that I wasn't good enough. So there I am, 11 years of age. I'm weak and I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. So that was my driver I was moving away from. That was the motivation to prove I am enough. I'm good enough and I'm not weak. Such that I would step into the ring as a professional boxer, prepared to die. That kill or be killed, life or death. That was my experience of life. It was very, very intense, very pressurized, and it was tough, really tough, because boxing, professional boxing, is a brutal business. I've had a friend of mine killed in the ring. I know guys that have been brain damaged. It's a tough business. And to get to the top in it, you've got to have some element, something's got to be something a little bit different. And and that's what the work that I do now. I'm fascinated by why do we do identity? Where's it come from? How did I end up the way that I ended up? And so when I retired from boxing, I went through an identity crisis. So I had to reinvent and recreate myself because I was no longer Billy the boxer. Who am I? That was the question. Who am I?
What sort of age were you then when you retired?
31. So I'm 31. I'm a young man.
Yeah. And this is where other people at 31 are just finding their feet, aren't they? And here you are, you're retired.
So I fast-tracked. I went through a midlife crisis very early.
Wow, yes.
So my early 30s were a midlife crisis. I went through depression. I went through a divorce. I had a mental breakdown. I went bankrupt. I lost everything. My home was repossessed. I lost everything in my early 30s. And that was my wake up for me to then go on a journey of self-discovery to figure out who am I and what's next. What's next in my life? Who am I going to be in the future moving forward? Because being a boxer, those certain traits that I had didn't serve Billy. I was aggressive, I was domineering, I was selfish, I was inconsiderate, I was always right. I was like, rah, rah, rah. And that works perfectly well in the boxing ring.
Yes.
But it don't work in life. Ask my ex-wife, she'll tell you. But I didn't know how to be any other way. I was stuck with that identity, that persona, and it so limited me. And it just didn't work. So I had to unravel, dismantle all of that to be free. Because I wanted to be free from the constraint the boxer had imposed upon me. It's like the boxer had me around the throat. I didn't know how to be anything else. So I got free. And that's the journey that I've been on for over 20 years.
Wow. So was there a turning point? Was there a pivotal moment in all of that where Billy the Motivator emerged?
It was hitting rock bottom. And I remember on a daily basis, I would say to myself, I just want to feel good. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I want to feel good because as an athlete, I felt invincible. And then I was knocked out on the canvas on the floor, and it was that period. I had a tough couple of years. I was trying to get out of where I was at. I was stuck. I was just kind of stuck, and that was the point for me. Then I realized I need to make some changes. So that was the thing for me, because my life just wasn't working. I was making lots of mistakes. Things weren't working out for me, but I was the cause of it all. And it wasn't until I got fully responsible for that I took ownership of it. I was a victim. I ended up being a victim. I had a victim mentality. I was a victim of my situations and my circumstances. I was knocked out. It's only when I got because I let my power go. I had no passion, power, or purpose. So it was only when I started to regain that and started to go to work on myself, I got it back. And I've got it back for myself. I'm living a 10 out of 10 life. And that's what I'm sharing with others, because that's what I want everyone to have. Because I know what it's like to be a 0 out of 10. And to experience a 10 out of 10 is just beyond what we think is possible.
So when you were boxing, you won this bout, and then you went to this competition, then you won that one, and you became the top of your game, world champion. Yeah, you can't get any higher than world champion. Yeah, unless you go and start fighting Martians. So you are the world champion. Okay, I guess you're working with coaches and trainers and stuff like that to get you to that.
Yeah.
Then you retire. Billy the Boxer goes. You have your You have your wilderness years. Did you start working with a coach or anybody or a mentor then?
Yeah, no. So it's that little gap because I wasn't ready. I couldn't hear anything. Now, as I've been a world champion, so I've done sports psychology. I had a team of people around me all the time. But when that was over, then I didn't know who to be, because that part of me that was like in the past now, and I was trying to I was lost. I was lost, and the thing was, this is over 20 years ago, and mental health wasn't really talked about like it is now.
No.
I was going through my traumatic experience on my own, because as a boxer, I'm trained and conditioned not to show any emotions or feel anything, because it's a sign of weakness. So I didn't know how to reach out and ask for help. I didn't know how to ask for help. So that's why I'm a Samaritan also, because I want to be there for people who don't know how, but they're reaching out. They're better than what I was. I suffered alone. And they talk about dark nights of the soul. I went through some real tough times, and I was trying to fight my way through it, and I made a complete mess of it. And it was a real tough period. But I got coaches. I started to go on programs. I've done thousands and thousands of hours in rooms with people, talking about what it is to be a human being. I've had therapy. I've done NLP. I've done so much stuff. And I love the subject matter. I'm still in training today. It's something I love because I'm learning all the time. I'm never done. It's never done. Transformation is never done. It's ongoing. You go deeper and deeper and deeper. That's why the song, It's a Beautiful Day.
Yeah.
I sing that because it don't ever stop. And it's having the right energy to just even think like that it is a beautiful day. Because I never used to think like that. I was stuck. I was limited. I was suffering. I was in pain. Suicidal. I was in the depths of despair. So to come through that and to have the opportunity just to be present and to be with people and making a difference, that's a beautiful day.
Absolutely. You're like a preacher. This is incredible. Absolutely incredible. So I'm just thinking here of Billy the boxer. He's got to the top of his game. He's world champion, right? And all these small business owners like me we're trying to climb to the top of this mountain. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah. And you got to the top of your mountain and they just let you go. And so you're busy climbing another mountain, aren't you, in a totally different mountain range?
So when you get to the top of a mountain, when you get to the top of a mountain, you look around.
Yeah.
Guess what? There's more mountains. There's mountains. There's mountains everywhere.
Yeah.
This one, and you look around, you go, oh shit, there's mountains everywhere. So reaching the pinnacle in something is, you got to have a goal beyond the goal.
Yes,
whatever
absolutely.
mountain is. And so as I was a young man, I was so fixated and so attached to becoming a world champion. It took me 4 attempts. I failed 3 times. I've been top of the bill in Las Vegas. I've done all of that stuff. And so reaching the peak of that was an amazing achievement. But it wasn't quite as sweet as what I thought it was, because I ended up in hospital, I had concussion, and then I lost my world title in my first defense. I ended up back in hospital, brain scans. So it wasn't quite as sweet as what you think it is when you get to the top of the mountain. There was other mountains to climb, and there was, firstly, you got to get down the mountain. I didn't realize that coming down the mountain, I didn't know what that was. Didn't know what that was like, and I kind of fell off the mountain. I kind of crashed. I kind of fell off the mountain, hit the bottom, and then that was my opportunity then to climb other mountains. But it's like not being attached, because as the Buddha says, attachment is misery. I was so attached to becoming a world champion. I didn't enjoy the journey. I didn't enjoy the climb, because it was long, hard, and arduous, and it was painful. So reframing my life now, the journey, there is no mountain, there is no top to get to. I'm just on it, and it's just, and we set ourselves certain goals, and we aspire to certain things, but it's a lifelong journey, the one that we're on. There is no
absolutely.
destination. And the internal work that I'm doing and I do with others, that don't ever stop. So it's internal. It's like eternal. Just we keep developing, keep growing, we keep learning, and that's the journey. And it's great. And if we can make a living along the way and set ourselves, whatever that looks like, whatever success is, because it's different for us all.
Yeah.
What is success? It's a made up thing. It's made up. How it is for you, for me, it's all different. So it's like checking into what is success. Where am I going? What's the point? What does it all mean? What's the meaning of it all? It's a beautiful day.
That was such an inspired choice of songs. So you've written a book. Tell us a little bit about your book.
So here we go. So from my story, you get a sense of I was a man down. So hence the title, Man Up. I had to man up. So the title's a little bit, it's not politically correct, and it is what it is. But I was a man down, so I had to get up. So the book is all about, I created a success model. So the model is all about a positive and a negative cycle. So what had me become a world champion? If you can imagine a triangle, discipline, dedication, and desire. So desire was my starting point. That was the first principle of success. That's what do you really truly want? I don't know if you can see that.
We can, yeah.
That's the model. And it's like, that's what had me become a world champion. I was disciplined daily. I was dedicated over time. And I had a desire. I had a focus. I had a future that I was living into. But when I retired from boxing, I went into the negative cycle. Doubt, distraction, and disappointment. Self-doubt. I doubted I'll be that good at anything ever again. So that I was knocking myself out. And distraction, I couldn't be with Billy. I didn't know who Billy was. So I did drug, sex, rock and roll to escape being Billy and where I was. Ultimately ended up being disappointed and feeling like a loser. You're either winning or you're losing. So the 12-round Billy Schwer experiences, we go through all of that cycle. And that's the work that I do now. Is that, I've got a program which is it's like a training camp.
Yep.
12-week training camp, and that's what I'm up to. A lot of my work is based upon the contents of my book. It's like a therapy-based coaching. So there's therapy in there, there's coaching in there, it's breakthrough technology.
And can anyone do this?
Anyone can do it, but the groups that I work with, we got to discover whether it's the right fit or not. Because I don't work with everyone. You got to be like when I first started on my journey, I wouldn't have been ready to go on this particular journey.
Yeah.
So there's a place you got to start from somewhere. So it all depends on where you're at. Establish where you're at and whether it's appropriate or whether it's the right thing. So it's not for everyone because it's not for the faint-hearted either.
Yeah, sure.
It can be confronting. I've had people bail out. I've had people pull out. They haven't completed the 12 rounds. It's tough. It's tough.
And when we finish the 12 rounds, what happens then?
So then ideally to maintain the transformation and keep it going, then we continue to work together. So as the months roll on, because the 3 months is an initial, because you're not done. It's never done.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
But with the initial period of work is we achieve so much. We get ourselves to a 10 out of 10. And then it's maintaining that. And it's a journey because it undulates. Life is up and down. So it's a maintenance of getting ourselves consistently to an 8, 9, 10 out of 10 and maintaining that over time forever. And that takes work because we allow stuff to get in the way.
Mm.
So whoever's listening to this, where are you on a scale of 0 to 10? 0 being knocked out on the canvas, 10 feeling like the champion of the world. It's a beautiful day. So you'll have a number, right? So then we have a number. So it's like looking at, so what is it that has me have that number? And can I elevate myself? Can I get closer to a 10 out of 10? Where am I? And then what's in the way? That's the bit. What stops us? And that's the journey I've been on for over 20 years. Every day.
What one tip have you got for somebody listening today that is perhaps feeling a 3 or a 4?
A 3 or a 4, it would be great. to be aware and to recognize and acknowledge where you're at. That's the place to start. And then it's just going, okay, so this is where I'm at. Brilliant. And where you're at is where you're at. It doesn't matter. It's about
yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? And I think we worry too much about where everybody else is because we see it all on social media. Like, oh, they're doing this and they're doing that, and then you start suffering with comparisonitis. And what you're saying is quite true. You need to worry where you are.
That's it. And where you're at is where you're at, because it ain't about where you're at. Amy Winehouse. We could have sung an Amy Winehouse song. She said it ain't about where you're at. It's about how does she say it? It's not about where you've been. It's about where you're at. It's not about where you've been. It's about where you're at. So where you've been is where you've been. Like me, you can anywhere. It doesn't matter. It's about where you're at right now, moving forward. It's about who you're going to be. Who do you want to be right now in the future? Because it ain't about where you've been. It's not about what happened. It's about what's happening now. It's
and what you're going to do and what you're going to do about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's a beautiful day to do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got to choose. Win or lose, you choose. It's the choices you're making daily, moment by moment. Just be conscious and aware of them, because win or lose, you get to choose.
Yeah.
We don't choose to lose, but we end up losing sometimes. But that's an unconscious choice. So once you get choice and get conscious of your choices, life changes.
But the losing's also part of the journey, isn't it? Because you said that you lost 3 times before you won the champion the world championship.
Absolutely. I fail your way to the top. There's nothing
wrong
absolutely. With it. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It takes courage to fail. Keep failing. Yeah. Keep failing. Keep getting up. Keep going again. Keep creating and designing the future. Keep living into the future, because it's the future you're living into gives you a certain way of being and feeling in the present moment. Because when I was in the depths of despair, I had no future. I felt like a 0 out of 10. I was on the floor because I couldn't see a future. So the best way to predict the future is to create it, right? Invent it.
Yeah.
We've got to invent futures, create futures, which is exciting.
Superb.
Which is what you've done.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us about this program that we can enroll on.
So I'm launching a new group program, which will be on September. So LinkedIn, there's going to be a 7-day launch starting early September. And I'm going to teach you more about the program, what it is, the benefits of it. And then I would love to have a conversation with you about whether it's the right fit or not. We'll have a discovery call, and we'll have a sparring session. We'll bounce it backwards and forwards, and to see whether it's the right.
This is virtually on Zoom or something, not in a real boxing ring, Billy.
Bring your gum shield. You might need it. You got a good tooth. You might need it.
Billy,
that's going to be launching in September. So we're getting ready for that. We're working all the back end of the LinkedIn stuff. So LinkedIn is going to be the platform that I'm launching it on. So I'm working there's a lot of work going into the background bit of it at the minute. So that's going to be early September.
Fantastic. Oh, Billy, you've been an amazing guest. It's supposed to be 15 minutes behind the profile. We've made it to 1 o'clock. Thank you so much for coming on. You really are a knockout guest. I've got one last question before I disappear. And that question is, what advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
My 16-year-old self? Patience. Have patience. Have patience, because I didn't have any patience and I was in pursuit, which wasn't a bad thing, but reflecting back, it would have made the journey a lot more peaceful. Patience.
Yeah, we could all use a little bit of patience. I think that song sang about it as well. Billy, thank you so much. Thank you for listening. You'll be listening on the podcast or on live, and we'll be back again very soon. Thanks very much indeed. Goodbye. You get out what you put in. Never go